jump in on this because, look, I think this is a problem regardless of what administration is in charge.
Yes.
We should not engage in this war. Look, there's a lot of saber rattling. There's a lot of fear mongering about Iran building nuclear weapons, even though the
false
intel
narrative.
is
Tulsi
obviously
Gabbard.
contradicting.
Yep.
Israel saying,
Yeah, she
weeks
said
ago,
there's no
they
nuclear
shared
weapon.
their intel with the regardless of what administration
Then
is
Trump
in charge.
said
We should
to the
not
press who
engage
asked
in this war. Look, there's a lot of
him a
saber
question,
rattling. There's a lot of
Trump
fear-mongering
said
about Iran
to forget
building
what
nuclear
she's saying.
weapons, even though
He
the
thinks
intel is
Iran
obviously
is close to
contradicting.
having
You
a
have
nuclear
Israel
weapon
saying weeks ago,
with no basis,
they
no
shared their
evidence,
intel with the
no
United
proof.
States, and the
Crazy.
administration rejected
Crazy.
the intel
Disrespect
is obviously contradicting.
of
You have Israel saying
within Trump
weeks ago,
of
they
Tulsi
shared their
Gabbard,
intel with the United States,
the
and
director of
administration
national
rejected it.
intelligence,
Our
bro.
intelligence community intel is obviously contradicting. You have Israel saying weeks ago, they shared their intel with the United States and the administration rejected it. Our intelligence community rejected it. They said Iran is not weeks away from building a nuclear weapon. But you want to know something? There are two countries in this whole scenario that do have nuclear weapons. One, of course, is the United States of America. The other, they don't acknowledge it, is Israel. So they act like, oh, we're just little lambs, and it's such a big threat. Okay, the whole thing about nuclear weapons, the reason why the United States can't allow Ukraine to do whatever it wants against Russia is because they're a nuclear power. It is a deterrent.
Ukraine had nukes, remember.
Israel doesn't want Iran to have a deterrent. Now, in a perfect world, neither of those countries would have nuclear weapons, but one of them does, and the one that does loves to cry about how it's always under threat.
Yep.
It's bombing
The victim.
Iranian embassies
Play the
in
victim.
places like Syria.
Pull the victim card.
It's always under threat. While it's
Manipulation.
bombing Iranian embassies in places like Syria. Well, it's literally
Crazy.
allowing its
Trash.
IDF soldiers to shoot
The
at
Israel
international
Defense
diplomats
Forces,
as they're
IDF.
visiting Jenin. Like embassies in places like Syria. Well, it's literally allowing its IDF soldiers to shoot at international diplomats as they're visiting Jenin. Like, are we ever going to at least address the belligerence of the current Israeli government? Also shooting at
Yo, Anna, bro, she's on point when it comes to this topic, bro. She cooks, bro. You have to give credit where credit is due. Love or hate, AK, she keeps it's AK, bro. 8,000. AK means 8,000. This is slang. To keep it a K, it means to keep it real, to be honest, to be candid.
In places like Syria. Well, it's literally allowing its IDF.
Yo, Anna, she comes with the articulacy, the intelligence, the knowledge, the logic, the nuance, the balance, the logic. Meant to say logicality, impartiality.
As they're visiting Jenin, like, are we ever going to at least address the belligerence of the current Israeli?
Everybody should address it.
People in Gaza when they're trying to get aid. Exactly.
Every person in the media who professes to be with integrity
National
should.
diplomats as they're visiting Jenin. Like, are we ever going to at least address the belligerence of the current Israeli government?
Also shooting at people in Gaza when they're trying to get aid. Exactly.
That is true, albeit I and Tiffany Cross disagree politically, albeit Tiffany Cross is one of the, even though Tiffany is one of the most manipulative leftists, bro, and even though she is that, she is telling the truth with that particular statement, yes.
In places like Syria.
It is crazy what is befalling in Gaza. It is really crazy. Odious, hateable.
Like, are we ever going to at least address the belligerence of the current
Great
Israeli
words,
government?
belligerence.
People in Gaza when they're trying to get aid. Exactly.
The belligerence of the current Israeli government.
Also shooting at people in Gaza when they're trying to get aid. Exactly.
I didn't expect anyone to agree with me. You never hear that on cable news. I will admit that. And I'm not trying to give myself props. There was a huge part of me, Kate, that was terrified as I was saying it. That's why
But it has to be said, regardless. Yo, and you deserve veneration, commendation. You really do deserve. You really do deserve commendation and veneration for saying it, even though it is hard to have the oppositional stance to the prevailing narrative, even though it is hard to have the oppositional stance to the prevailing narrative. It has to be done, bro. Anna did it. She bravely said what she bravely uttered the reality, the truth. Yeah, even with the not, yeah, she knew that everybody would not like her remarks or agree, but yeah, she still bravely did it. She still bravely told the truth because it is laudable, it is honorable, it is scrupulous, it is the right, it is praiseworthy, it is respectable, it is the right thing to do. So big ups to AK, straight up, no cap.
The belligerence of the current Israeli government.
Also shooting at people in Gaza when they're trying to get aid. Exactly.
I didn't expect anyone to like agree with me. Like, those are, you never hear that on cable news. Like, I will admit that. And I'm not like trying to give myself props. There was a huge part of me, Kate, that was like terrified as I was saying it. That's why my voice sounds a little different, because I was just a little bit terrified of like what's gonna happen.
But you still did it. Bravery. This is bravery.
It's really important to get that message
across. It is about doing what is right versus it is about integrity. Integrity is more important than approval, than validation, than access to power, than bro. Integrity is more important than approval and validation. It really is. The ones with integrity, they don't get as much love, but they are able to sleep well at night. They are able to sleep well at night, and they still have their morality intact. They still have their honorability intact, their laudability, their scruples intact, their morals, their principles. If you don't abandon your principles, you will gain respect, real respect from many people. You won't be liked by everybody, but you will. You won't be liked by everybody, but you will have respect of many people. That is a fact. So keep being real, keep telling the truth. The right people appreciate that. They really do appreciate the sincerity, the honesty, the candor, the realness, bro. So keep doing what is right. Keep giving people the reality, because it is needed. It leads to the betterment of society, bro. To be frank, to be in accordance with journalistic integrity, and to be in accordance with honorability. So, yeah.
Just a little bit terrified of like what's gonna happen after I say this. But for me, it was really, really important to get that message across.
Yeah, I think you got it across well. And just to go back to the debate with Adam for a second, you had mentioned the Janine incident in that clip. And in the debate, I believe it was with Adam, when you brought that up, he made a comment that was like, oh, yeah, it was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, it's always a misunderstanding. Always.
And then just blew right past it. I'm like, okay. So there's never a response. I think that they, like, you managed, that's like the longest I've ever seen anyone talk on CNN on a debate panel without being interrupted. And I think it's because they were all like, well, I think she's saying is wrong, so what am I going to respond to?
Yeah, either that or, you know what? I'm going to give Tiffany Cross a lot of credit because piggybacking off of what I was saying is also a scary thing to do because, look, I'm not going to lie. The kinds of messages I've been getting from
salute for that.
Just normal Israelis that are pretty grotesque, but
the radical
they're
pro-Israel
civilians. Like, I'm not scared. They're mad at me. It's okay.
Irate. Live it.
When I get the threatening messages from IDF soldiers, like that kind of stuff, like it's scary. Like it scares people. It scares me, and I get scared.
So what? Death threats or? Yeah, if that is the case, that is terrible, horrible. The people who did that are bozos, blights, curs, C-U-R-S, C-U-R-S, meaning villains, bad people, garbage, fecal people, man. Yeah, you don't have to agree with everything a person says, but to threaten a person, to send threatening messages is uncondonable and objectionable and repellent. It is really disgraceful. It is really detestable, despicable, deplorable. It is to be despised. It is to be despised. Yeah. The people who send death threats to people who say logical things, they're not able to demolish your arguments or repudiate your arguments or debunk what you say. They're not able to have intellectual arguments. So they resort to those things, those morally poor actions, bro. Those morally low things, bro. It is really, it is sad all the way. It has to cease, this fragility, this weakness, this BS. If you don't agree, you can just send people threats. And in the eyes of these goofy people, they think it is okay to do this. Nah, you look goofy. You look all the way goofy, bro. It hurts your cause, your movement, Nah, it is destructive. It's really destructive to growth, to progress, to all of that, bro. It is destructive, deleterious, injurious, inimical. It is hurtful. Stop.
It's okay. When I get the threatening messages from IDF soldiers, like that kind of stuff, like it's scary. Like it scares people. It scares me, and I don't get scared easily.
I sense you good energy.
All sorts of crazy threats, including
Hope you're good. Hope you're okay.
Other people are not going to want to deal with that. So
stay safe. Stay safe.
Long enough dealt with all sorts of crazy threats, including in person.
Crazy.
Other people are not going to want to deal with that. So like,
I
give her so much credit for also weighing in. Like
salute.
What I was saying by
to
talking
be fair,
about the Palestinians who were getting shot and killed at the humanitarian aid hubs. Like it's just that took balls. And
guts.
She added a lot of really interesting points to the conversation. Sure, Michael, by the way, he's like a conservative guy,
Republican,
total class act.
Trumper.
Everyone at that panel was very classy, very civil.
That
it was
is
just
good.
Like the polar opposite of my experience with Adam, and it was nice.
Adam Sosnick.
Feel like
she's referring to her debate with him on the Her Take podcast, of which Jillian Michaels is the host.
That took balls, and she added
Yeah,
a lot of
Sosnick,
really interesting points to the
he
conversation.
branded
Sure,
her
Michael
an
Ivan is like a
Iran
conservative
defender
guy,
for
total
saying
class act. Like,
the
everyone
logical
at that
ish,
panel
bro, for saying
was very
the truth,
classy,
the
very
reality.
civil. It was just like everyone
Anna
at that
never
panel
said
was very
anything
classy, very
laudative of
civil. It
the
was just like the polar opposite of my
Iranian
experience with
government,
Adam, and
or
it was nice, and it made me.
she never said she supports what the leader thinks or believes or his mentality. She never supported abuse of the Iranian people or tyranny or dictatorship. She never said any laudative. She never uttered laudative remarks pertaining to the supreme leader Ayatollah Ali K. Not going to try to pronounce it because it is difficult. But Ayatollah Ali K, she never endorsed this dude or she never sung his praises or anything like that. So for Adam to brand her an Iran defender is crazy, bro. Yeah, to say, he also said she's loud and wrong. Nah, she wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong. He just didn't want to accept the reality, bro. It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. He could not debunk her arguments. So he resorted to vituperative remarks, low blow attacks, calumniatory things, obloquious remarks. Like, yeah, bro. It makes no sense, bro. This dude, Sosnick, he was bugging, bro. He really was. Bro. Yeah. No hate for Adam, but he when it comes to Israel, he's a puppet, bro. It is really sad. And Anna, she was right when she said he's not America first. He professed to be that, but he's not that, bro. It is manipulation. You can't be America first and be a puppet of Israel, a foreign country, a different country, a different government other than the government of your home country, bro. It is contradictory, bro. Adam, he has to forget. He has to cease this BS, this false narrative that he is America first when he's doing lackey of Israel-ish, minion of Israel-ish. Goofy, bro, goofy all the way, goofy. Straight up.
That took balls, and she added a lot of really interesting points to the conversation. Sure, Michael, by the way, he's like a conservative guy.
Yeah.
Total class act. Like, everyone at that panel was very classy, very civil. It was just like the polar opposite of my experience with Adam, and it was nice. And it made me feel at ease so I can like keep making points like that. Although cable news is so constrained, so it's like you don't have a lot of time.
Restrictive.
Yeah, well,
restrictive.
A perfect representation of, you know, when you agree with people, like, as Jank always says, take yes for an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure, like, there's
Jake
definitely
Huger.
things with Sure Michael and with Tiffany that you wouldn't agree with them on. But in this moment, like, you agree. So, like, why be
balance,
confrontational?
Nuance.
Or, you know, make it something that it's not. You guys agree on this issue. And
Logic.
It's a perfect issue to come together
it is,
on.
Yes, yeah.
So
it is laudable to agree if somebody is making sense. It doesn't matter if you politically disagree or it is laudable to give credit where credit is due, to agree,
but in this moment, like, you
to
agree.
reach
so, like,
common ground.
Confrontational, or, you know, make it something that it's not. You guys agree on this issue, and it's the perfect issue to come together on.
Yes, yeah.
So I think it was a good demonstration of uniting where you can
Yeah.
unite.
Common
And
ground.
it gave me a little bit of hope, right? Because I've been so pessimistic about humanity.
Yeah.
Like just the stuff that's
Now
been
you-
going on.
Yeah.
But to know that there's a, and it gave me a little bit of hope, right? Because I've been so pessimistic about
Yep.
humanity, like just the stuff that's been going on. But to know
Yep,
that
yep.
there's agreement across the political spectrum.
Yep.
on
Bipartisan.
how these atrocities aren't called for,
Yeah.
and there should be consequences.
The
for.
logic
You know,
is
we wasn't
logic,
sure, Michael,
regardless.
he didn't weigh in on that
The truth is
specifically,
the
but
truth.
He did weigh in on not wanting to go to war with Iran and how disastrous that would be. So
For us, yeah.
I'm grateful that there's a huge number of, you know, conservatives and
MAGAs,
Republican voters
Republicans.
who see what's going on. They're like, no, we shouldn't do this.
There's no point.
Okay, this is a short clip.
There's no
So,
point
the
in
first segment,
intervening.
There was a woman who worked for the Obama
In foreign
administration
wars.
sitting next to me. I think she. Oh, the first segment. There was a woman who worked for the Obama administration sitting next to me. I think she worked in the Pentagon. I could be mistaken, but clearly she worked in the foreign policy realm and is in favor of a regime change war in Iran. Or no, I'm sorry, I don't want to put words in her mouth. She's in favor of striking Israel's nuclear sites and thinks the United States should provide the
Aid.
huge bomb, 30,000-pound bomb, to kind of get into that nuclear site that's under a mountain. So I didn't agree with her on a lot, but I did take one small thing she said as an opportunity to add to it. So let's take a look at L2.
The JV team in Yemen.
Historically
And so
weakened.
that's why suddenly you're seeing them take advantage of something that when I was at the White House, back this is 2010 and 11, Israel had been planning attacks back then. They've planned this for years and years.
33-year war in the making. I mean, Netanyahu has been saying that Iran is on the
Netanyahu,
precipice of
Benjamin.
a nuclear weapon.
Bibi Netanyahu.
No, that's why
This is 33 years, Kate. 33 years. Days away from obtaining a nuclear weapon. We must invade Iran. We have to have, regime change. Like, just
Crazy.
she annoyed me, right? Because she's like, oh, I wouldn't have been in favor of striking Iran's nuclear sites before, but I'm in favor now. And it's like, okay, but what changed?
Yeah.
That they're enriching more uranium? Okay, but can you blame them considering the fact
Mm.
that like why would you abide by a nuclear deal that doesn't exist?
Yeah.
You know?
Stupid.
Yeah.
Harebrained.
So at the end, you hear her, I think in that clip, say, like, well, it's not, like, I know Netanyahu has been saying this for 30 years, but now
Bibi
it's different
Netanyahu.
because the IAEA is saying
Yeah,
it.
Except
And
for those who don't know what the IAEA is or stands or is, it is an acronym. It stands for International Atomic Energy Agency. This is an intergovernmental agency that seeks to promote the safe use of nuclear energy. IAEA. Yeah, that is the IAEA for those who don't know.
years, but now it's different because the IAEA is saying it.
except
And if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure she's probably referring to the report like a week ago where they said, well, Iran's not complying anymore, and we think that they're enriching more uranium, which is bad, totally acknowledged bad. But then as we played literally earlier on the show today, one of the directors from the IAEA is coming out and saying, but we have literally zero confirmation that they're actually trying to make a bomb. So, like, she's not. IAEA is coming out and saying, but we have literally zero confirmation that they're actually trying to make a bomb. So, IAEA is coming out and saying, but we have literally zero confirmation that they're actually trying to make a bomb. So, like, she's not telling the full story there. And there's also, like, I think there's confusion over the difference between enriching the uranium and actually making the physical bomb, because some of these reports say, like, could probably enrich enough uranium within days. Which, if you end it there, like, that sounds terrifying. Of course,
Yeah,
it is.
alarming.
But like, to actually make the physical bomb, then
It's
that's another months to years,
a different
based
thing.
on estimates. So like, there's so much and I see it a lot because
So what the radical people are saying is bunk, rubbish, drivel.
And that's another
months
to years based on the estimates.
Yeah.
So like, there's so much and I see it a lot because I watch a lot
the
of mainstream
they say has to be invalidated. It is invalidated. What they say, these radical people,
and I see it a lot
these
these
war-loving people
for this job, and you know, just to get as much information as I can. And there's so much and I see it a lot because I watch a lot of mainstream media reports for this job, and you know, just to get as much information as I can. And there's like rarely clarification on
purpose
between actually enriching it and
to deceive people.
Yeah, that's so true. And that confusion is so frustrating because it does sound scary when you hear that they're days away from having enough of the enriched
fear-mongering
to build the bomb. But you're right.
It
the
really is
the bomb, I mean,
fear-mongering.
Slipped during that interview with Bret Baier and made it clear that no,
Fox
they're not
journalist, Republican journalist at Fox, Bret Baier.
But you're right, the actual building of the bomb. I mean, Netanyahu himself slipped during that interview with Bret Baier and made it clear that no, they're not close to building the bomb. Like, that's going to take
contrary to what Trump said to the press, he thinks Iran is close, very close to having a nuclear weapon. Crazy, bro.
Slipped during that interview with Bret Baier.
He provided no proof or evidence. It was a groundless, baseless remark.
A year at least, but likely longer than that. I've seen some estimates of 3 years.
Wow.
But nonetheless, there was obviously still time for diplomacy. There was still time to get Iran to sign a nuclear deal. And guys, this is the biggest thing that I want to make sure you all push back on, because it's just not true. Okay? The reason why Netanyahu struck anyway, he doesn't want a nuclear deal. He's always wanted regime change war in Iran. So
he's a goofy.
I don't even believe that the
he's a monster.
Weapons is really,
he's a bane. He's a cancer.
Regime change war in Iran. So I don't even believe that the
he's a devil.
He doesn't want a nuclear deal. He's always wanted regime change war in Iran. So I don't even believe
savagery,
that the
brutality,
weapons
depravity
is really the motivating factor for what Israel's doing right now. I think ultimately regime changes.
Yeah.
And Netanyahu's, look, he's trying to
She's right.
Not be as clear, but he's pretty clear about it. He's pretty clear about it. So the nuclear thing is just, it's the same thing that happened with Iraq. Look, whatever you think about Glenn Greenwald, and look, if anyone has the right to be upset with Glenn Greenwald, it's me. Because he totally lied about me and, like, whatever. The whole sexual harassment thing, I don't want to get back into it because that was a really dark time and it was awful.
Wow.
I don't care, okay? Because his reporting on war, foreign policy, he does good work. So I've been watching him. And he did.
Salute to her for being balanced still, even though she did not have the best experience with him, or what? You have to salute AK for being impartial, even though she had conflict with this dude. Yeah, Glenn, he is great at this. He is great when it comes to the foreign policy stuff. He is dope. Salute to Glenn for that. Yes, but yeah, this harassment stuff, it is not cool, bro. It is never cool. It is never cool. It is never cool to engage in harassment, bro. It is goofy all the way. It is abhorrent, odious. It is trash all the way.
Something that was awful. I don't care, okay? Because his reporting on war, foreign policy, he does good work. So I've been watching him. And he did something that I was hoping someone would do. I was thinking about doing it on our show, but he already did it. I'm not going to copy him. He brought back he does good work. So I've been watching him, and he did something that I was hoping someone would do. I was thinking about doing it on our show, but he already did it. I'm not going to copy him. He brought back videos of George W. Bush and his speeches
Junior.
leading up to the war in Iraq.
The son
And
of
it's just
Senior.
so similar, Kate. Like, it's insanely similar. Nuclear. What? I forget.
Nuclear.
How he said it, but he can't say nuclear. He would say nuclear, whatever.
Tough.
Sounded like a total doofus, and same fear-mongering tactics. And
Wow.
obviously, there were no nuclear weapons in Iraq. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
Mendacity.
And we got our intel from Israel. Okay, let's keep going. So let's actually do the last video here. I forget which one this is exactly, but let's have a little fun.
It's pretty disturbing that all it takes is this like weird competitive spirit that Trump has to egg him on to essentially potentially engage in an offensive war
Hostility
against Iran, which I actually think would be absolutely disastrous.
Yes.
Let's just all remember the fact
Deleterious.
that the United States joined forces with the Saudis to try to defeat the Houthis in Yemen and failed in doing so. The way that we discuss regime change wars in this country is absolutely ridiculous, especially when you're talking about a country like Iran, which has far more military capability than Iraq did. The terrain, the land mass of Iran is obviously a lot more challenging for the United States if we decide to make the mistake of engaging in this war.
All right, that was kind of boring, actually, because I make those points on the show all the time. But again, being able to make it in that context, that's on CNN, I think is pretty cool. And I want people to think about the Houthis.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little bit, look, I'm a little disturbed that we couldn't beat the Houthis. Like, that's not a good sign if we go to war with Iran, but I don't know.
And in the meantime, hundreds of thousands of people in Yemen died.
Oh my God. I know there was famine in Yemen. It was a horrible, horrible war that I wish we actually weren't part of at all. Just terrible. So, and I remember in Trump's first term, there was a bipartisan resolution to pull out of Yemen. And he ripped it up. He's like, no, I'm not interested. Veto. He vetoed it, which was so infuriating because at the time, getting bipartisan anything other than, of course, defense spending was so difficult to do.
Wow.
I'm like, oh my God, you have Democrats and Republicans joining forces to pass this incredibly important resolution, but he vetoed it. So anyway, I had a really good time. I don't know if this is awkward, but I find Abby Phillip to be so beautiful, and she's even prettier in real life.
Physically,
she's just stunning.
she is physically
so,
pretty.
Not to like fangirl. I love her show.
I don't agree with everything Abby says, but she does certain things she says are based, are logical, are impartial, balanced. Yeah, but yeah, we don't agree on everything. But yeah, she's calm for the most part. She doesn't engage in ad hominems or verbal abuse or verbal attack. She makes sure she sticks to civility. Yes, she is decorous. She is a person who has emotional restraint, emotional control. So big ups to Abby Phillip for that. Even though we don't agree on everything, she is able to control herself. She is physically beautiful, yes. Pocratudinous. She is pokratud epitomized. She is pokratud epitomized. Facts. Big facts.
And she's even prettier in real life. She's just stunning. So like not to like fangirl. I love her show. She was like a very gracious host. It was a good time. And I thought after I said the things I said, I'm probably never going to be invited back again. But
it is what it is.
Me. And to their credit, the booker did. Abby told me she wants me to come back on soon. So
that would be
hopefully
dope.
That happens because I want to get our message out there. You know, I want to have conversations with people.
Yep. Good faith,
Out of
intelligent,
our environment.
classy,
And
away
it's
from
fun.
the bubble.
It's fun. I'm finally starting to remember what it was like to have political discussions and,
Discourse.
you know, have fun with it because I'm being
Yeah.
challenged, or I'm
Yeah.
hearing something that's different from what I
New.
already believe, and I want to challenge it. Like,
Yep. You
it's-
grow
I like debate.
when you
Like, it's
engage
fun.
in
So,
different with different
we'll see what happens.
in
But any
discourse with people who differ, who dissent, who disagree.
or I'm hearing something that's different from what I already believe, and I want to challenge it. Like, I like debate. Like, it's fun. So we'll see what happens. But any final thoughts, Kate?
No, except that definitely support you going back and doing it again because it was fun to watch. And the clips, I saw a lot of people appreciating it.
Anna is pretty too in her own right. She is pretty too in her own right. Beautiful, pulchritudinous, attractive.
I'm doing it again because it was fun to watch. And
that is a
the
bonus.
clips,
That is
I
a
saw lot of
bonus.
people appreciating it.
She's intelligent too.
Never hear
She's
this
not
on mainstream
just
media, so
a pretty
you
face.
hear a lot. I'm doing it again
She
because it was
is
fun to
not
watch.
just a
And
pretty face, yo. She
the clips,
is
I saw a lot of
intelligent,
people
articulate,
appreciating it, 'cause you just
eloquent,
never hear this on mainstream media. It's so
Yeah.
rare. You hear a
balanced.
lot of talking points and a lot of kind of milk toast. shade.
Logical,
You just never hear this
for the
on
most
mainstream
part.
media. It's so
Yeah.
rare. You hear a lot of talking points and a lot of kind of milk toast. Shading it because you just never hear this on mainstream
Humorous
media.
too.
It's so rare.
She
You hear
is funny.
a lot of talking points and a lot of kind of
She is
milk
able
toast.
to give good jokes
Yeah.
too. She
People
does
hearing
crack
about
me
it
up.
and, you know,
Yo,
bringing up
yo, AK,
the
AK is hilarious, bro. Facts.
But they won't really get passionate about it, and you know they'll bring up a lot of talking points and a lot of kind of milk toast. Yeah, shading it because you just never hear this on mainstream media. It's so
Yeah.
rare. You hear a lot of shading it because you just never hear this on mainstream media. I'm doing it again because it was fun to watch. And the clips, I saw a lot of people appreciating it because you just never hear this on mainstream media. It's so
Yeah.
rare. You hear a lot of talking points and a lot of kind of milk toast. You know, people caring about it, and you know they'll bring up the horrible things happening in Gaza, but they won't really get passionate about it. And it's nice. It's refreshing to
Yeah.
have, you know, our voice.
Yeah, AK is different.
It is.
AK is different.
It felt good. It really did.
She has
So
the energy.
Obviously, we'll let you guys know
When she
if it
speaks.
happens again in the future. And that's it.
Every time you ring the bell.
Yeah, man. Salute. Yeah, let me know what y'all think. Yeah, bro. Salutes to Anna. Salutes to Jank too, man. He's doing this. What is he doing? This unity between the MAGA Republicans and the truly anti-war MAGA people and the truly anti-war Republicans and the truly anti-war Democrats.